Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie, host and head bookologist here at the Get Literate podcast. I'm a book loving, notebook hoarding reader and writer on a mission to change lives one book and one notebook at a time. On this podcast, we explore the power of books and reading and notebooks and writing to make life better and to feel better too. You'll find episodes exploring the reading and writing life and how it can make our actual lives better. You'll get book recommendations and notebook invitations around particular themes, and you'll meet authors and special guests who'll help us take inspired action in our own daily practices. So, grab a notebook and your TBR list, and let's get literate. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Get Literate podcast. I'm Stephanie Affinito, your bookish host, here with another episode on how reading and writing can make life better. Now, today I'm actually trying something new and different on the podcast. If you've been here for a while, all 188 episodes, then you'll have noticed various shifts that have happened since the very beginning. The podcast actually started as a true book podcast. Each week, I chose a different theme, some conceptual, some whimsical, and I shared 3 different books that embrace that theme that you might want to read about, bibliotherapy style. From there, I started adding in episodes that were a little bit more general about the how. I was giving you the what in terms of bibliotherapy, what to read, but I wanted to give you more about the how and the why it was important. And so those kinds of episodes were born. From there, I started dipping my toes into writing and notebooking and journaling because, quite frankly, reading and writing are very connected and I don't separate them often. And so I started adding in podcast episodes about journaling, about notebooking, about writing to heal, and for all sorts of other reasons. And it turns out you really loved those episodes. In fact, I would say that many of those writing themed episodes are even more popular than the reading themed episodes. So that's why I'm coming at you today with a writing themed episode, but I'm doing something a little bit different. Rather than bring a general how to kind of episode, I'm going specific. Today, I want to talk about 3 restorative journal prompts for caregivers. Okay, I told you I was going specific. I was lucky enough to be asked to speak at a recent parent support group meeting at an eating disorder, or I should say, at an eating disorder support group for parents in upstate New York. I have been a part of this group from my daughter's journey through her eating disorder, and it is such a kind, supportive space. They recently asked me to come talk about how I used reading and writing to help myself and to help my daughter, when she was willing, during that time. It was such a beautiful session. It was so nice to come back full circle from a parent who was on one side of the Zoom call to a parent who was on the other. And I talked about the power. I talked about the potential for healing. I talked about reading and writing as self-care tools during this very challenging time. I also shared 3 particular writing prompts that were very important to me as I was supporting my daughter in her recovery. And I talked about book titles that were important to me as well, hoping to pay all of that forward. And I realized that I loved sharing it and that many of you on the podcast might want to hear that exact information. Now, yes, I was talking to a very specific form of caregiver, but here today, I want to share 3 restorative journal prompts, 3 restorative notebook prompts, 3 restorative writing prompts, however you want to think of it and term it in the way that it works for you, for caregivers. You could be caregivers supporting a loved one through an eating disorder, through a cancer journey, through Alzheimer's, through whatever it is. If you are a caregiver and you are funneling a lot of your time into caring for others, then this episode is for you. Right? We all know that caregiving is hard, no matter what your circumstance is. Showing up for those that you love can be hard, especially when that caregiving is wrapped around a complex illness or a complex situation. But if caregiving's hard, showing up for yourself as the caregiver, that is even harder. But as I've learned, it is absolutely essential so that you can show up and be the version of you that you want to be supporting your loved one. You absolutely have to support yourself. Now, depending who you are, that support can come in lots of different forms. It can be a therapist for you. It could be finding your community, making sure that you have time for your hobbies, finding support groups for caregivers. Whatever it is, you do those things. I'm here today to share that, of course, reading and writing were instrumental in keeping my own sanity and my own stress levels down so that I could show up in my own caregiving roles. So today I want to share the 3 writing prompts that I relied on the most, and I wrote about them on repeat for about a 2 to a 2.5 year span. Now, quick note before we get started. If this idea appeals to you, if you like this idea of writing for your mental health, of writing to feel better, of restorative writing in general, caregiver or not, I do have some other episodes that you might want to take a listen in on if you haven't yet. Episode 179 focuses on scriptotherapy, restorative writing, and writing to heal chronic pain. Episode 160 focuses on an unlikely way to set intentions and change a bad mood in your notebook. Episode 136, all sorts of ways to write your way to a higher vibe, a higher vibration of energy in your body. And way back in episode 48, I have an episode on journaling for mental health. So there are other episodes here if this is your kind of thing, but I'm hoping that even though I'm getting very specific today, and I'm talking about 3 restorative writing prompts for caregivers, I think no matter what your caregiving status is, you will find all 3 of these prompts beneficial to just help your mental wellness in general. Okay, first on the list, the brain dump. But it's the brain dump with a twist. Okay, so I want to give you 3 different prompts for 3 different reasons. And this first one is a de-stressor. It's an unloader. It's a venting prompt. It's just getting everything that is piling up and overwhelming you in relation to your caregiving responsibilities, and it is getting it off of your chest, off of your mind, off of your heart. So what you do is you take your notebook, you take a writing utensil, you open up to a nice clean page, you sit for a minute and you simply ask yourself, what is weighing on me right now? What is weighing on me right now? And that could be weighing on you in all sorts of aspects of your life, or you could just keep it specific to your caregiving role. What is weighing on me right now? What is bopping around in my head? What can't I stop thinking about? What is stressing me out? What is waking me up at night? What is running through my head on repeat? I want you to make a list and I want you to dump it all out. The big stuff, the little stuff, the teeny tiny stuff, the stuff you think's important, the stuff you think isn't important, lay it all out. And when you think you're done, just sit for a moment, take a couple of deep breaths, and add anything else that comes to your mind. I want that page full of everything that is literally weighing on you so that you can start to feel a little bit better of having a placeholder for it. You don't have to store it in your body. You're storing it on the paper. When you have your list and you think that list is complete, it's time to get out a highlighter. You can pick whatever color you'd like, a color that matches your mood, a color that'll help you get into a better mood. Stay tuned for an episode on color magic coming up soon. But I want you to take that highlighter and I want you to go down your list item by item by item and ask yourself this. Is this something I have control over? Is this something I have control over? And I want you to go item by item and highlight that item if it is something you have control over. Now, what usually happens when I do this, I dump everything down and I do this kind of brain dump almost once a month. I write everything down, I highlight only the things I can control, and I always have fewer things highlighted than I do listed on the page. Doesn't really matter. I still worry about them all. But this focuses your brain to see out of all the stuff that is weighing on me, there is only a small percentage of it that I can control and do anything about. And that other stuff I have to learn to let go, to let be, or to just not let it take up so much space in my brain and in my body. Hard lesson, but seeing it tangibly on a paper can be a really good first step. But there's one more piece to this. As you look at all of those items that you have highlighted, it's time to scan them and say, if I could only pick one, what is the one thing I will do next to feel more in control? Now, you might decide to pick the easiest thing so that you can cross something off of your list and feel really, really good about that. Or you might pick the biggest thing because, what is that phrase of eating the elephant first? Or no, you eat the elephant one bite at a time, but I think you eat the frog first in the morning. Someone will have to write in and tell me what that phrase is. Or you just look at the list and you tackle the thing that you know will bring you the most relief if you actually did something about it. And that gives you a next step. We always had a phrase in my house I used to tell my kids all the time during the sports season, right? When they got out and they wished they didn't, when they struck out and they were all upset. We used to say, right, what happens next is what defines you. If you throw your bat and you pitch a fit, well, that's one way. But if you keep your head up and you think about something you could improve for the next time, that's another way. What happens next is what defines you. So this notebook activity gives you the chance to dump it all out, release it from your body. Show yourself concretely that there are only a few things that you can likely control, and so the rest need to be let go of. And then it gives you one thing to try so that what happens next is what defines you. Not what happened before, not the swirlingness of your mind right now, but at that next step you take. This is by far my favorite writing technique for feeling better. It's in my morning pages, it's in my sidekick journal, it's on sticky notes all over the place. It just really, really works for me. And I hope that it can work for you. Take all of those responsibilities that are swirling around, funnel them down, and think about one next thing that could help everything. Okay, so that is the first. That is your traditional brain dump to help you de-stress. Now, the second thing I want to talk about today is it's really personal. I'm not going to give you the personal details, but I will tell you this. In my caregiving journey, and that could be just as a parent, as a caregiver, but specifically when my kids are going through hard things, surprise, surprise, I do not always get it right. In fact, I have often got it very, very wrong. We try our best, we do what we can, and we move on, right? There were so many instances where I didn't say the right thing. I didn't do the right thing. I didn't have the right facial expression. I lost my temper. I didn't show my emotion enough, right? You name it, I did it wrong. And maybe you're nodding your head thinking the same thing. Now, supporting a loved one through an eating disorder, I think, provides many opportunities to get it wrong and then to learn. Right? Power struggles, meal struggles, frustration, lack of understanding. Oh, there was just so much to it. And there were so many occasions that I can't even count them where I wished I did something differently. Here's the notebook prompt for you if that has also happened to you. I want you to think, excuse me, of one of those moments. Maybe it's a moment recently, maybe it's a long time ago, and you can't get that regret and shame out of your head. Just think of that moment. I don't want you to think about it too long, though, and I don't want you to think about it too hard, and I don't want you to think about it in too much detail because your brain doesn't know that it's no longer happening. If you imagine it in your mind, it's happening to your body. So I just want you to call it up quickly. And then I want you to move right to this activity, which is rewrite it. Literally rewrite it on the page as if it is happening, but you are responding in the best version of you. You are responding in the way you wish you did. You are responding in the way that makes you proud and not regretful. And literally rewrite the experience on the page. There is research behind imagining and visualizing. There is research behind writing things down to strengthen those connections. But when you're a caregiver, I can promise that there will be an opportunity for that same thing, that same scenario to come up again. And it could go wrong again. Or if you use this as a therapeutic tool to just give yourself grace for who and what and how you were in the moment, and use the page to rewrite what will happen the next time, I promise you the next time is different. This worked for me. This really worked. It just gave me a chance to imagine a different outcome. And so when prompted the next time, I had something to call upon. I had a script to call upon because I already spent time bringing it to life on the page. So this is a really powerful way to give yourself grace for what happened before and plan for the better caregiving version of you that you want to be the next time something like that happens. It's a little wooey, I know, but it works. Okay, brain dump, rewriting scenarios, and here's the third. And this third one, it's coming from me because I'm sharing it with you. But the origin of this idea came from my friend, and I love that I can call her a friend now, by the way, but from friend and previous podcast guest here, Anna K. Morris. Anna is a huge journaler. She is a life coach. She is so many things. And she led a group that I was part of a couple of years ago around the holidays. And one of the things that she asked us to think about, and she asked us to jot down, and she asked us to say aloud in the community was something that instantly brought me to tears, that instantly helped, and actually is on a sticky note now in my bathroom so that I see it every single night as I wash my face because it was so powerful. Here's the writing prompt I want you to think about for this third restorative journal prompt for caregivers. What do you wish someone would acknowledge you for? What do you wish someone would acknowledge you for? Just take a second and think of that. Do you wish that they'd acknowledge your hard work, the way that you're showing up, the time you take off of work to bring them to appointments, the way you put your own needs aside to show up for theirs? What do you wish you were acknowledged for? Now, here's the thing. Here's the kicker. Here's the icing on the cake. You don't have to wait for that acknowledgement. That's what Anna taught me, a lesson I don't even know how to repay her for. You don't have to wait for that acknowledgement. You can give it to yourself. You can acknowledge yourself for what you are doing, how you are caregiving. You can do that yourself. And so this third prompt is to think of that question and then to write yourself a note. Or maybe write yourself a letter, or maybe write yourself a 3-page essay. Dear Stephanie, insert your name, of course. Dear Stephanie, I want to acknowledge you for ... Or maybe it's, Dear Stephanie, I know no one has told you this lately, but here's what I want to say to you ... Or maybe, Dear Stephanie, I know you don't feel appreciated in this caregiving role, but here's what I want to say. Here's what I want to share. Here's what you need to know. The words, they're up to you. The framing, it's up to you. But there is something magical about becoming clear on what you wish someone would see you for, and then gifting that to yourself. So when Anna posed this question, this is a live coaching group I was part of, I instantly knew what I wanted to say. As I mentioned, it was around the holidays, and the holidays in the middle of recovery for an eating disorder is a really hard time. If you know, you know. And I wanted to be acknowledged for the sheer amount of work and headspace and worry that I was pouring into it. From what food would be out on the counter, from what time, to who was coming over and how much they knew about what was going on, to the things that could be said, to the things that could be misinterpreted. I was just not having the holiday spirit that year. But what Anna did was have us name that aloud. What do you wish you were acknowledged for? And she looked us straight in the eye, one by one, in that Zoom screen. And I told her, and I cried, and she cried, and she said back to me the words I needed to hear. Oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional right now. It was just the most profound experience. And from that time, I do have a sticky note, as I mentioned, in my bathroom that says, what could I acknowledge myself for? And I think about it often. You don't have to think about it daily as you wash your face at night, but if you are a caregiver, you need to gift yourself that as much as you possibly can. So that third prompt of writing yourself a note, a letter, or an essay, whatever you need, and keeping it. Go back through it when you need that encouragement, or just whenever you need a pick-me-up, you're having a bad moment and you need to get away for a second. That is a prompt that can sustain you in whatever comes next. Whew. So there you have it. There are 3 restorative journal prompts for caregivers. 1 brain dump that helps you see what you can control and what you can't and move forward. 1 that helps you rewrite your experiences and take a better step forward. And 1 that helps you feel seen and heard and acknowledged. So I would love to know what you think about this episode, and if there were more episodes like this. 3 restorative journal prompts for fill in the blank, for the burnt out teacher, for the busy nurse, for the mom of 3 toddlers, right? I would love to know what you would request, because if you like it, if people are listening, then this could definitely be a rotation that ends up coming into the podcast, whether it's focused on reading or writing. I feel like it's time for me to get specific and speak directly to someone listening so that they feel seen and heard in this reading and writing journey too. So don't be shy. Tell me what you think. Find me in the comments at alitlife.com. Click that audio record button in your favorite podcast platform, or find me on social media at AfinitoLit. Let me know what you think. And of course, let me know what you would request. You never know, an episode coming up might be just what you need to hear. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. If you want more of this kind of work and you want a close-knit community to help you do it, make sure you find me on Substack. My weekly literate love letter goes out there free every Friday. And if you're part of our $5 a month paid community, you get extra bonus podcast episodes every Sunday with bibliotherapy book calendars, writing prompts, book clubs, live events, and much, much more. We'd love to see you there. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Happy reading and writing, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Get Literate podcast. You'll find links to all of the books, resources, and ideas mentioned on the episode in the show notes and at alitlife.com. And if you want more, you might like to join my Substack community. There, you'll find additional inspiration for your reading and writing life, like bonus podcast episodes, bibliotherapy book calendars, monthly book clubs, notebooking inspiration, live events, giveaways, and much more. It's only $5 a month, and you'll get instant access to all of the previous content too. You can learn more at getliterate.co. And one more thing, if you love what you listened to today, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast, or take a screenshot of the episode and text it to a bookish friend. This helps the podcast grow and builds our bookish and notebookish communities too. Thanks for listening.